If your data isn't connected, your dealership isn't operating at full speed. Curator brings all your dealership data together to drive better leads, better conversations, and better results. Visit goobagoo.com/curator to learn more.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Friday, February 6th, 2026. I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, Toyota names a new CEO. Stellantis takes a $26 billion hit in write-downs, and Stellantis gets out of the battery business. Plus, Cox Automotive President Steve Rowley joins us from the NADA show here in Las Vegas to talk about the AI revolution transforming dealerships.
Just the importance of making sure that you get AI in your operations today. Doesn't matter what level, just starting to work at it.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry. Toyota is naming a new CEO, just 3 years after its last major leadership transition. The company announced today that CFO Kenta Kon will become CEO, effective April 1st. Current CEO Koji Sato, who took over in 2023, is moving to vice chairman. Toyota says the shuffle lets Sato focus on broader industry issues. He recently became chairman of Japan's Auto Manufacturers Association and serves as vice chairman of Keidanren, the country's most powerful business group. But the move marks a dramatic shift, putting a finance executive behind the wheel for the first time since Akio Toyoda became CEO in 2009. Kon helped develop Toyota's strategy of generating profit from services and add-ons to its 150 million vehicles on the road, moving beyond just relying on new car sales. Stellantis is taking a $26 billion hit in write-downs. That's as it scales back electric vehicle plans and resets its business strategy. The charges reflect what CEO Antonio Filosa calls, quote, the cost of overestimating the pace of the energy transition. The automaker now expects a preliminary loss of up to 21 billion euros for the second half of last year and won't pay a dividend this year. Stellantis shares dropped as much as 22% in Milan, wiping out about 5 billion euros in market value. Filosa will present a new strategic plan in May. And LG Energy Solution is buying Stellantis' 49% stake in Nexstar Energy. That move ends their joint venture and gives the South Korean battery maker full control of the Windsor, Ontario plant. Stellantis will stay on as a long-term customer, continuing to source batteries for its EVs. The buyout lets LG Energy Solution pivot the facility toward energy storage systems and pursue new automotive clients. It's part of a broader strategy to balance production between EV batteries and grid-scale storage. The deal requires regulatory approval. Financial terms weren't disclosed. Joining me now to talk more about it is Greg Layson, the digital and mobile editor for Automotive News Canada and host of the Automotive News Canada podcast. Greg, welcome back to Daily Drive.
Good to be back.
All right, Greg, walk us through what this means for the Windsor plant and for battery production in Canada.
Well, the battery plant in Windsor was already slowly pivoting away from a focus on electric vehicle batteries because demand has dried up. There was no need for them. And so they started making energy storage system batteries for a broader market. So things like AI and Bitcoin and all these places that need additional energy sources and additional energy storage. So they were already moving down this path. And now what it means is two things. They can continue to do that, but they can also continue to make electric vehicle batteries, but sell them to more automakers than just Stellantis. That was revealed hours after the news, is that, Stellantis Canada's president, Trevor Longley, said it allows them to sell batteries to whoever they want. So it means there is more customers for Nexstar and above and beyond just electric vehicle batteries because they were already doing energy storage systems.
This effectively gets Stellantis out of the battery manufacturing business. What does that tell us about the automaker's broader EV strategy, especially given those massive write-downs they just announced?
Yeah, this just seems like another domino in a long line that has been falling for a while now. We know that Stellantis earlier this year said they were going to kill all of their plug-in electric hybrid vehicles, so no more offerings in that segment. Now they're selling off their stake in Nexstar. And I should mention, for $100, that's it, $100 nominal fee to get right out of batteries. And I have talked to people in the know at the Windsor assembly plant who have seen product plans and have told me that there are no electric vehicle offerings coming down the pipeline anytime soon. I've heard as far out as 2029 model year as the earliest you might see an electric vehicle at Stellantis. Now, that's just coming from a couple people at one plant, but it gives you a sense of what's going on. I can tell you they've even we know they've brought back the V8 engine for the Charger. That has been installed on the line now at Windsor Assembly Plant. So Stellantis is clearly cashing in on Donald Trump's rollback of fuel efficiency and emissions targets and looking at bigger, stronger, faster internal combustion engines for some of those niche products.
All right, Greg Layson, thank you so much for joining me.
Anytime.
Coming up next, Cox Automotive President Steve Rowley talks about how AI is transforming dealerships and why dealers need to start implementing it now. That's next on Daily Drive.
If you're an automotive supplier and you know your team is building the next big thing, prove it on the industry's biggest innovation stage. Automotive News is now accepting applications for the 2026 PACE program. PACE Awards recognize traditional and non-traditional suppliers worldwide for new product, process, and business model innovation, and entries must be innovations already commercialized through a sale to an automaker. Still pre-commercial but past the pilot stage? PACE Pilot recognizes post-pilot, pre-commercial innovations across automotive and future mobility, products, software, IT systems, and processes with the potential to revolutionize an automaker's business. All submissions are reviewed by an independent panel of judges, and MEMA is the exclusive lead sponsor. Ready to be recognized? Apply by February 9th at autonews.com.
Your dealership is sitting on mountains of customer data. But when that data is messy and spread across different systems, it's almost impossible to actually use. That's why Gubagoo developed Curator, the automotive industry's first unified intelligence engine. Curator pulls customer data from everywhere: your CRM, DMS, website, even your marketing tools. It cleans it, connects it, and pushes it back into your systems. The result is a complete real-time record of every customer. Let's get to know Alan Telleriato. For nearly 50 years, they've built their business on one simple idea: take care of the customers, and they'll keep coming back. But even with decades of loyalty and data, things were getting messy. BDC manager Seth Stanage puts it best. Customers would reference visits from years ago, but the team could only see the most recent record. Finding the full story meant digging through duplicates across multiple systems. That all changed with Curator. Seth says their marketing data is the best it's ever been thanks to Curator, enabling Alan Tillery to target buyers at just the right moment and making sure they're the first and last dealership those shoppers connect with. The results speak for themselves. Curator collected more than 20,000 data points a week and generated leads that boast a nearly 30% closing rate. Want to see what Curator can do for your dealership? Visit gubagoo.com/curator to learn more.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Kellen Walker. Artificial intelligence has been one of the biggest topics here at the NADA show in Las Vegas this week. Dealers are figuring out how to integrate AI into their operations, from customer service to inventory management. Cox Automotive President Steve Rowley sat down with Automotive News Senior Retail Editor Dan Shine on the NADA show floor to talk about the AI revolution, affordability challenges, and what's ahead for the used EV market.
Steve, great to have you on Daily Drive. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Dan. It's a pleasure to be here. Great place to be.
Yeah, right. This is a great buzz on the first day of NADA. You come from telecom back in the day.
I do.
Talk to me about how you can compare this AI kind of revolution that auto is seeing right now to your days of telecom, when it was like, at Sprint, it was like this kind of that craziness that you encounter.
Yeah, it's a great. I like telecom's always one of those hockey sticks. Everyone gets, collate around something new technology that's coming about. I've never seen something like this, though. AI seems to be really taking a life of its own and really capturing units. The important thing here is to really make sure you understand it and you look at your systems in your operations and determine how can this be a part of my life. That's what's so important to do it early.
Yeah, you can't have a choice of to do it or not to do it. You really have to get on this bandwagon.
Yeah, so I just did an interview with one of the 20-year veterans of AWS, and one of the things I asked him was just that. How do you view this? You have to start now. And for me, artificial intelligence is so unique, and so you have to have an enterprise view on it, and you got to make sure that it becomes a centerpiece of what you're doing, because now you have artificial intelligence, you have agentic AI, which are these agents that work 24/7, and you got to figure out, how do I integrate this into my operation? How do I think about the front line? How do I measure and make sure I have a strategy that balances to our needs? And then most of all, unfortunately, that I spent so much time, you've got to make sure that cybersecurity and security of your networks and your efforts are tightened and tied down in a very, very smart way.
Yeah, for sure. Talk about your time over Automotive, and then the changing market dynamics that you're seeing, encountered back then, and how things are really changing today.
Yeah, well, look, I think here today's a great place to have this conversation. I mean, I feel like there's an electricity here that I didn't see last year with the dealers. So, you're seeing the dealers very excited. Everyone's looking for ways to say, how do I put customer centricity at the center of everything that I do and create outcomes that match those? So it is going to be about technology. People are looking for integrated products, integrated fashions, so that the way I treat the customer and the outcomes that I get really are driving efficiency, profitability, and trust, with the consumer.
Do you think part of that is driven by maybe things were maybe easy for the last few years, coming out of the pandemic, and maybe didn't have to work as hard, or you were still making money, and now I think there's concern. Probably new vehicle sales are going to be going down. There's going to be more stress on the service and parts. Do you think maybe dealers are here and energized because they think, that they really kind of have to strap it on and really go?
Yeah. Look, when things are going well, people think things are easy. And I don't care what it is. A guy building your house, it's easy. But what I will tell you here is the dealers are just so resilient, in my opinion. This industry is so resilient. And so when I look at the things that are going on and how they're getting things done, there's a lot of hard work going in place. And, I think that there's been some headwinds, right? So you look at the economy, you look at tariffs, you look at interest rates, you look at affordability. Those are things that you had to overcome. And I think the dealers have really done the right things to say, how do we do this in a fashion that can deliver customer service excellence and meet my objectives?
Yeah. So I saw you earlier moderating a little discussion with Marianne Johnson from your group and Dave Richardson from AWS.
Yes.
And they came over and were kind enough to spend time with us. Talk about that relationship with AWS and kind of the excitement about agentic AI and where that is going to take Cox Automotive.
Well, look, I'm such a believer in technology, and AWS, along with some of the large language providers out there, are an integral part of what you do. You have to be working with them. When I first came in to Cox Automotive, one of the things I said was, look, every part of our business has to be in the cloud. We've got to have things in the cloud. I said we have to have an enterprise thinking and think about integration from soup to nuts so that you can really talk about the things that you're doing and deliver on the outcomes and the expectations you're speaking about. David just speaks to just the importance of making sure that you get AI in your operations today. Doesn't matter what level, just starting to work at it. And then you got to build a governance team, and you got to put a governance up across how you're thinking about that, and then get your infrastructure in place, and then get your strategy in place. So, and AWS is a partner that really helps us do that because they've got some great sophistication on the tech side.
So AI is a big topic. Affordability is another big topic that I think we're going to hear about. What's kind of your take on affordability and how that is going to impact the auto industry for 2026?
Well, there's a lot there. Affordability has been something we've been talking about for the last 3 years heavily. I think it's real. I think that it does a couple things. It puts pressure on the used car marketplace. I think you're going to see a very strong used car marketplace. I think you'll see a strong remarketing of EVs because of that as well. But I think it requires us to think differently and determine, what do we need to be doing to make the consumer make an easier path for them to purchase it.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have to get creative, no doubt. And we're seeing it. As you said, we'll probably see the SAR at about 15.8 this year, down from last year of about 16.2. But there's still, it's still yet to be seen. I think there's about an 80-day supply of inventory with the dealers. So I think there's some excitement. You just saw Toyota come off a record year. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I do think there's going to be vehicles and opportunities for the OEMs to really do some special things.
It wasn't just a few NADAs ago that EVs were the big talk.
Right.
And now EVs but used EVs are going to be a thing. Mannheim is,
Yes.
On the forefront of that.
Yep.
Praising and using. So talk about how Cox will kind of get in that used EV space and how that you're going to kind of help the consumer. I think they're still great vehicles, but there's going to be concerns about battery life, things like that. Talk about how Mannheim is kind of getting into that used EV space.
So, look, we're going to have about 75% of all the EV inventory coming out of Mannheim. It's a big focus of ours. We build an infrastructure there. I mean, you have to have lifts, you've got to have functionality, you've got to have chargers to be able to have those in the facilities, and we've made those investments. I really think we're going to see some excitement around the EVs in the used car marketplace. If you look at people that have an EV, 71% of them want to buy another one. What's kept some people out is the price points. So now you're going to be able to see that used vehicle market, and I think you're going to see a really strong play come about from the EVs. They've been very, very good cars, and they've been reliable, and so some of it is getting education. We have a battery health monitor, let them understand what that battery health is for that car. I really think, if you think about use of EVs, most people will have an EV in the house and an ICE in a car. And so, most of them are charging to 300 plus miles. Yeah. If you think the average driver, I think their commute is about 37 miles round trip. Yeah. So, or if it's someone that might be stay at home that doesn't drive as much. So I do think EVs are going to do well. It's going to be exciting. We're seeing, off lease now go, it used to be 4 million. It was 2 million last year. It's going to be 2.4 million this year, and 200,000 of that incremental 4 million are coming from EVs. So you're going to see them come off lease as well. And so it should be pretty exciting to see, quite frankly.
Two more quick questions for you. I want to talk about EV battery services, something that Cox is involved with. Tell me a little bit about that and what was involved there.
We've been managing some of the largest recalls in the automotive industry. We do everything soup to nuts as it relates to lifecycle management of the EV space. We do everything from diagnostics to logistics to storage, every aspect of what we do. We work with the dealers, we work with the manufacturers, and we've got several locations around the U.S. to support that. We've really won about 80% of the RFPs out there in this space. So we're a real thought leader in that space, and we believe still heavily in electrification. Mm-hmm. Maybe different than the EV world that we did 3 years ago, but we do believe in an electrified world. And that's, we're seeing that in the hybrid space. We're seeing that in other vehicles, and we think that we're going to be able to parlay that into a really exciting business for us.
Finally, Cox has, as always, very big presence here. I would say we came over here yesterday before the show opened, 3:30 in the afternoon. Place was still torn up. The carpet wasn't down anywhere. It was kind of a mess. But your whole team was over already on their computers, and you were already running through just drills and all this kind of stuff. What's a successful show? What is that? What are you hoping to leave here Friday with?
The show for us is making sure that we have time to meet with our customers and give them reviews of all the new products we have. AI we talk a lot about. So, we have service to sales products where we've taken our VIN product, which is our CRM, our vAuto product, and our X-Time product, and we're able to bring those into more of a service to sales environment where we can, as a car comes in, we could send that to the used car manager and say, hey, this car is paid off, coming off lease, should get them into a new car or something of that nature. So just getting all the dealers and customers to see the new innovations that we have, talk about the exciting things that we have in the future. So those are going to be the exciting things. We've got 150 stations. I think we have over 3,000 demos here. And so making sure that we get through those and really educate the customer on the excitement that we have around what we're offering the industry.
Great. Hope you have a great show. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer, as well as our own Hans Greimel, for his reporting for today's podcast. We also have reporting from Greg Layson and Grace Macaluso of our sibling publication, Automotive News Canada. You can get the latest news on Toyota's CEO transition, the next star buyout, AI at dealerships, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com. Come back over the weekend for our weekend drive edition of the show. Our own Larry Bellaquette and Mike Martinez talk about all the news here at the NADA show, as well as the UAW's tentative deal with Volkswagen in Chattanooga.
You've had a federal monitor that has been taking Sean Fain to the woodshed. You have somebody that's going to be accountable to the membership in a matter of months who needed a win. And this could certainly give him momentum and a few more thousand votes come this fall.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.